Well, the Colorado Rockies lost to the Houston Astros. Quite shocking, I know, for the Rockies fan out there, as the final score is 5-2. We'll break it all down on tonight's episode of your Locked On Rockies postcast as the Rockies get off to a losing start on their first game of a 5-game road trip. Let's break it all down on tonight's Locked On Rockies postcast. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Rockies POSTCAST, powered by Mile High Sports, part of Locked On Sports Denver on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It is the Locked On Rockies postcast. Hope everybody is doing A-OK out there on this Tuesday, June the 25th, as we get ready to talk about a disappointing loss for the Colorado Rockies as they fall to 27-52. Ay, ay, ay. Losing to the Houston Astros, who, believe it or not, are still a game under 500. Houston now at 39-40 on the season after the victory tonight. It is one of those two-game sets. So tomorrow's game will be a day game. I believe a 12-10 first pitch is what we're set for on that one. And we shall see how that shakes out. But it is Locked On Sports, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match of up to $100. More from our friends over at PrizePicks a little bit later on in the program, but I'm back. I was off for a couple of days out there in Chicago watching the Mets take on the Cubs at Wrigley Field. That was fantastic, and the reason I'm leading off the show with that as well is because if you, as a baseball fan, or really even as a sports fan, I went to the game with a couple of buddies that aren't really the biggest baseball fans in the world, you have got to go to Wrigley Field because it is an absolute gem. I can't say enough good things about it. I had an absolute blast out there. So if you get the opportunity, maybe catch a Rockies series out there. I know they played, I think they opened up against the Cubs very early. I think it was April, so not great weather, but get out to Wrigley Field. That is my memo today for you guys. It is an absolute gem of a ballpark. But the Rockies today, not good. Not good at all as they lose 5-2, the final score here. And we'll break it all down on the show tonight. And the two major themes you need to keep an eye on are the two major themes that we talk about pretty much every show. You know, it's trouble with the pitching. This time it was starting pitcher Austin Gomber, who just got rocked in the first inning, for better or for worse. And it's the lifeless offense, as the Rockies do manage to muster up a couple of runs here. But it was too little, too late for the Rockies in this one. But while I'm over here chit-chatting and all that good stuff, make sure to smash that subscribe button on the brand new Locked On Denver Sports YouTube channel. Excited to be here on the Locked On Rockies postcast. We'll be here just about each and every Colorado Rockies game the rest of the way, breaking down what we just saw on the diamond. So if you want some more Rockies content, make sure to smash that subscribe button and stick with us as we roll through the punches on this Locked On Rockies postcast. But look, guys, and let's do a little bit of a recap here, not just from the game, but from when I kind of left off doing these shows. Like I said, I was out of town over the weekend, and it has not been good. I saw that the Rockies did manage to win a game there against the Washington Nationals via a walk-off pitch clock violation, the first of its kind in Major League Baseball history. Don't really know what to make about that, but I at least wanted to get it out there because it's the first time it's ever happened. So, you know, it's obviously noteworthy in that sense. So really, though, I think the big takeaway from that is the Rockies lucked out of a win there a little bit. I mean, that was just an absolutely dismal road trip for them, or a homestand rather, a 10-game homestand, I believe a season-long homestand for them, and they muster up just 3 wins in those 10 games. I think with my guy Paul Holden, I predicted 4-6, and they were not 4-6. They were 3-7, so even worse than that, as they just got absolutely steamrolled in just about every single game that they played in that homestand. A 5-2 loss to the Pirates, then a 16-4 win, then an 8-2 loss to the Pirates, 9-5 to the Dodgers, 11-9 to the Dodgers, 7-6 win against the Dodgers, 5-3 loss, and then an 11-5 loss to Washington, mixed in with that 8-7 victory, as we had just mentioned, and then a 2-1 loss to round out the series before they got themselves to an off day day on Monday, and they were unable to use that off day to bounce back in any way, shape, or form as they fall tonight to the Houston Astros by a final score of 5-2, and they were just not even in this game. And let's just start with Austin Gomber, who will be probably our primary talking point on today's episode of your Locked On Rockies postcast, because there really wasn't much cooking with the Rockies beyond that. I mean, looking at their lineup, Tovar has one hit. McMahon has one hit. Okay, Brendan Rodgers, a couple of hits, very nice. Draws a walk there as well and has a run batted in, a home run there that came a little bit later in the game in the ninth inning. So nice to see at least Brendan Rodgers doing his thing at the plate, but really crickets after that. I think Michael Toglia hit the home run. Excuse me. Let me check on that real quick for you so we get that correct. I was also a little bit of a preview while I'm looking this up. Great episode coming out tomorrow on the main feed of the Locked On Rockies podcast. The Standard Show had my guy Kevin Henry from Just Baseball on the program just a few minutes ago. We recorded talking about all the news and notes around the Rockies. So make sure we'll put that up bright and early since it is a 12-10 game tomorrow. So make sure on the main feed to stay locked in with that episode of the Locked On Rockies podcast with my guy Kevin Henry. I think you guys will like that. Kevin has been around the team for basically all season, and he's going to be able to provide you, the fan. We had a great conversation, some great insight about how this team, how this organization is thinking, in the moment, but also leading up to what could be a pretty pivotal trade deadline for them. But back on track here was Michael Toglia, in the top of the ninth inning. Brendan Rodgers did drive in there. So both Rockies runs came in the eighth and the ninth innings, guys. They were down 5-0 for virtually this entire baseball game. And just look, you'll take the runs however you can get them. Nice to see Toglia hit his 8th home run of the season in the 9th, and nice to see Brendan Rodgers drive in a run there in the 8th. But it's just straight up too little too late. They just got absolutely decimated in this game once again. And look, I know the Houston Astros are hot. They're coming off a 4-game sweep of the Baltimore Orioles, who are, one of the best teams, not just one of the best young teams, but now this year, one of the best teams, period, in Major League Baseball. So to see the Houston Astros, who have been a sub-500 team for virtually the entire season, come in and punch the Orioles in the mouth, that at least had an opportunity to show you what type of competition the Rockies will be going up against tonight. And like I said, with Austin Gomber just not having it from the get-go tonight, I shouldn't even say that because he settled into a pretty good groove after that first inning. Gomber finishes with 5 1/3 innings pitched, got into some trouble there in the 6th inning, which ended his day, but gave up 8 hits, 5 runs, all 5 of them earned, and no walks, which I guess is good, but it doesn't matter when you're giving up 5 runs and 8 base hits and strikes out 4. So that is the stat line tonight from Austin Gomber, as just another dreadful performance for him. And one of the things that we talked about with Kevin, you'll be able to listen more in depth. I'll give you my take here with Austin Gomber in particular, is his struggles this season. You can track them virtually all back to after that little time off. I don't know if he went on the injured list, but he missed at least one start. It was right around when I started doing this podcast. It was a weekend series against the Dodgers when he came back and made his return. And what's funny about that is I remember I was then, just getting introduced to Paul and the Locked On Sports Network and what he does with the Rockies podcast. And I remember Paul sending me a text message like, Austin Gomber's in the mound. Remember, and this was when the Rockies had won that Friday game. Gomber started that Sunday game, and he got shelled in that one. His return after a skip start or a delayed start, however you want to phrase it. And I forget exactly what he was dealing with, maybe a little fatigue or tightness. I don't want to speculate too much, but obviously something to, kind of force him out of the rotation for a start or two. And ever since then, I'll pull up his game log here too, as we move along here on the Locked On Rockies postcast. He has just been absolutely bad. That's the one way that I could put it. And the frustrating part for Gomber is the body of work has not been bad. It's been the first inning that has been his Achilles heel. Tonight, all 5 of the runs that he gave up in this game all came in the first inning. So I don't know what's going on with Austin Gomber in the month of June, but, he's really, really struggled collectively. He had a decent start against the Dodgers. Not even that good. He went 6 2/3. That's the first thing that came to my mind. And when I see 6 2/3, I think good things, especially with this Rockies pitching staff. So, he goes, 5 1/3 tonight, and, just gets absolutely pulverized by a red hot Houston Astros team. And look, I know it was a lot of weak contact. I believe all those RBIs came on base hit singles. But just bad pitch location for Austin Gomber tonight. And those first inning woes, when the offense has been as hot and cold as it has been, is just going to, dig a grave for these teams, or dig a grave for the Rockies, rather, especially when you're going up against a quality opponent in the Houston Astros, who I know are below 500, but have definitely been playing better baseball as of late. So just a disappointing performance tonight from the Rockies collectively, but in particular, the Rockies lineup too little too late, and Austin Gomber just struggling to get anything going on the mound. But let's hit a break. When we come back, we'll dive into Gomber, start a little bit more. We'll take you a little play-by-play here, show you how the Houston Astros got their runs, and we'll move along here on the Locked On Rockies postcast. So stick with us as we'll take a quick break, and we'll come back and do just that. All right, real quick, guys, let me tell you about our friends over at Tax Network USA, because here on Locked On Sports, specifically on the Locked On Rockies postcast, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, or the playoffs. It's year-round, guys. You know it as well as I do. And you know what else is year-round? Collections season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after your unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Yes, I'm talking to you out there, the listener. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. And personally, I might have to reach out to my friends over at Tax Network USA because my tax return is lost. I was told that the state of Colorado, I don't know where it is. It's gone. You ever seen that South Park episode? And it's gone. I don't know where my tax return is. It was due about a month ago. Still haven't gotten it. So maybe I got to call my friends over at Tax Network USA. Maybe they can help me out trying to get this thing figured out. And look, I'm a sports guy. I'm a baseball guy. I work in sports media. This tax stuff, it's a different language to me. Straight up. It absolutely is. And our friends over at Tax Network USA make it super easy for you to get the job done. With over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, not an A-, not an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or finally hit that parlay this season and need help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000. And yes, folks, there is a certain threshold with the parlays that when you hit them, or even if you're at the slot machines in the casino, you're going to need to pay your taxes on that. And our friends over at Tax Network USA are going to make sure that you're taken care of. So again, call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. And you can also see the link in this episode description below if you want to check out our friends over at Tax Network USA. And let me also tell you about our friends over at SupplyHouse, because you're going to want to get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business, and talk to a real person every time. I cannot understate that enough. Overstate, whatever the terminology is. No AI, no computers, a real person every single time when you deal with our friends over at SupplyHouse. So be sure to check them out. But pros in the skilled trades can also get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to dedicated phone lines, free shipping, and discounts on every single order, guys. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/T-M and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. Be sure to check them out. If you end up doing some work with our friends over at SupplyHouse, make sure to let them know that Locked On Sports sent you, in particular, the Locked On Rockies postcast. It helps us out a great deal. Be sure to visit our friends over at SupplyHouse.com. Okay, welcome on back into your Locked On Rockies postcast. For everybody watching on YouTube live right now, what is going on, folks? Rock on, Rockies fans, as my guy Paul Holden likes to say. And we're talking about a tough loss here once again for the Rockies. Not the best way to start a 5-game road trip with a 5-2 loss to the Houston Astros. And taking a look at it, Buddy Black is now speaking with the media right after this game. I mean, virtually everybody not named Mauricio Dubon, I hope I got that correct, and Jeremy Pena for the Astros managed to reach base or at least get a base hit in some capacity at some point tonight. Jose Altuve, 2 for 4. Alex Bregman, 1 for 3. Yordan Alvarez, 1 for 4. Jake Myers, 3 for 4. Chas McCormick, 1 for 4. I mean, this Houston Astros lineup was just able to tee off on the Rockies tonight, and it was just trouble from the get-go. Alex Bregman in the bottom of the first inning with a runner on second. He's single, or hold on here. I'm looking at scoring. Let's get this right. Jose Altuve led off the game with a single to left field to Jake Cave. So that's how that's how the game started. Jose Altuve base hit, which was fine. And then he steals second base, which takes the double play out of the equation. Then Alex Bregman. You're talking about 2 veterans here. The top portion of this Astros lineup, I know the record isn't great right now, and even the individual numbers maybe aren't there, but the top portion of this Astros lineup is still about as good as it gets here in Major League Baseball. And so Altuve, single on the line drive to left field, steals second base, and then Alex Bregman brings him home with a single to center field. That's how the Astros get their first run of the game, and then it just keeps spiraling there for the Rockies, and in particular, starting pitcher, Austin Gomber. Yordan Alvarez hits a single to right field. That advances Alex Bregman to second, and then Yainer Diaz hits a single on a line drive to center field, once again to Brenton Doyle. So back-to-back RBI singles to center field. That puts the Astros up 2-0 early in this game. And this is before Austin Gomber has even recorded an out in this game. And look, I know I talked about maybe the location wasn't there and death by paper cuts with all the singles that he gave up early in the first inning in this game, but whichever way you slice it, death by paper cuts, location, velocity, this or that, time off, just not good enough tonight from Austin Gomber as the Rockies wind up losing this game 5-2. So we're at 2-0 right now, thanks to those back-to-back RBI, or the 2 RBI singles to center field. Jeremy Pena then records the first out of the inning on a fly ball to center field. Then Jake Myers hits a single to right field, Sam Hilliard, and that scores Diaz from second. That makes it 3-0 Astros. So all 3 of these runs now coming on singles. The Rockies then get a second out. Austin Gomber throws a wild pitch, which advances Diaz to third and Myers to second. And then Chas McCormick's going to make him pay. He hits a single to center field as well. So 3 of these base hits, RBI base hits on singles to center field. That's going to put the Houston Astros up 5-0. And that's where we find ourselves as kind of the main takeaway from tonight's game, which is Austin Gomber's just struggles continuing. And as I had kind of mentioned in the first segment here, I don't know what it is, because in the month of May, this is a guy who I believe had a sub-1 earned run average. I mean, he was dominant, not just good, but like very good was Austin Gomber. And then whatever he was dealing with, has obviously sidetracked him along the way. And it's just, sucked any and all momentum out of Austin Gomber as, he's reverted back to, struggling as a starting pitcher. And it is interesting, like I said, about half of his earned runs on the season this year coming in that first inning. And so, it's early struggles for Austin Gomber. I mean, he settled in the rest of this game and only didn't give up another earned run in this game. So all 5 of these earned runs for Austin Gomber coming in the same inning, the same sequence before he could register 3 outs. And like I said, you want to call it bad luck, you want to call it death by paper cuts, it doesn't matter. This is a recurring theme now with Austin Gomber. And as I had mentioned, since he came back in the beginning portion of June, I mean, the numbers have just been awful. 17 2/3 innings pitched, 27 hits allowed, 19 runs allowed over the course of 4 starts, 5 home runs. He's walked 7 batters, didn't walk any tonight. And I actually don't even think this is factoring in tonight's start as well. So it's even worse if you want to, amplify what we saw tonight from Austin Gomber. And, I don't get it. June 2nd against the Dodgers, he goes 3 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 home runs, 3 walks. Bad. And then I guess he bounces back kind of by Austin Gomber. But here's to put it in perspective. Austin Gomber started the month of June with a 3.06 earned run average. That's where Austin Gomber started the month. Austin Gomber at this point in the month has a 4.63 earned run average. So things have just gotten way out of hand. Things have been ballooning for Gomber, and it's been a problem, as another winnable game. And look, even if the Rockies offense showed up tonight, I mean, I shouldn't even say that. If the Rockies offense showed up tonight, maybe they're able to make up for Austin Gomber's shortcomings on the mound. But I don't know what's going on with him. I mentioned it then, his following start on the 7th of June against the Cardinals, 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, a walk, and then struggled once again against the Minnesota Twins. I mean, only goes 3 innings. This is on June 12th. 3 innings, 11 hits, 8 earned runs, gives up a home run, gives up a walk, strikes out 2, takes the L in that game. And then on the 18th against the Dodgers in this last homestand, 6 2/3 innings. So you'd like to at least get some of the tonnage from Austin Gomber, but the results were not great. 5 hits, 4 runs, all 4 of them earned, 2 home runs, 2 walks. And then you factor in tonight's line where he goes 5 1/3, 8 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned, 4 strikeouts. I mean, it's just the same old song and dance with Austin Gomber. And, this is a guy that's pitching for another contract here. And let's look it up. I believe, is he an unrestricted free agent? He either has one more year of team control or he's set to hit the free agent market. Yeah, he signed let's see here, good old sportrack.com. Oh, no, so he's arbitration eligible for 2025. He'll be a UFA in 2026. So, they got another year of team control here. But look, if Austin Gomber was able to, pitch consistently like he was in the month of May, he probably, for better or for worse from the Rockies perspective, that probably would have been enough for the Rockies to justify, inking him to a mid-level extension, 3-4 year extension. We know the Rockies love to extend their starting pitchers, especially if they can get them on a good deal. Look at Kyle Freeland, look at German Marquez, look at Antonio Senzatella. But with numbers like this, especially with the recent sample size, like, I don't know, maybe Dick Momford and Bill Schmidt and company, look at the month of May and don't think it's an outlier and think they can extract that on a consistent basis. I don't know, but this is a guy in Gomber who I believe has also come out of the bullpen at some point or another throughout the course of his career with the Rockies. So, I don't know what has happened with him between the month of May and now here as we come up on the end of June. But it's been bad. And I think it's a large reason why the Rockies, who managed to have a winning month in May, have reverted to just absolutely, non-contention, non-relevancy in Major League Baseball, as of late. So we'll have to see what happens here as the rest of the season progresses. But Gomber, as I mentioned, his ERA now balloons up to 4.63. And I clicked off of it, but I think his ERA, and I don't think this factors in tonight's game. So assuming that this was coming into tonight's game, his ERA was almost 10, 9.68 in the month of June. That is not a recipe for success, whichever way you slice it. So, all right, let's hit a quick break. When we come back, we'll put a bow on the show, give you guys some of my closing thoughts, touch on the offense a little bit, and take a look at what's coming up for the Rockies in tomorrow's, I guess it's technically a series finale in this 2-game set against the Astros. We'll take a look at that matchup when we come back right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, or Locked On Rockies Postcast. All right, y'all, let me tell you about our friends over at PrizePicks real quick, because PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports, and unlike the other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the PrizePicks community today. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. If you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks has you covered every week, from lowering select player stats projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your fantasy entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. Our friends over at PrizePicks have you covered. But the final's over. The hoops action does not stop on PrizePicks as well, guys. Women's basketball is heating up with stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese looking to make names for themselves alongside greats like Breanna Stewart and Asia Wilson. You can win up to 100 times your cash watching them ball out. PrizePicks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. And there's a number of different reasons why you're going to want to get involved with PrizePicks, folks. I told you about their deals. I told you about the variety of options that they have, and the simplicity. Our friends over at PrizePicks make it very easy. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first-time deposit match of up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks for a deposit match of up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. All right, welcome on back into your Locked On Rockies postcast. I'm your host, Aniello Piro. If your heart desires, you can follow me on social media at Media by AP, and we'll be breaking down just about after each and every Rockies game right here on the Locked On Denver Sports YouTube channel on your Locked On Rockies postcast. So make sure to smash that subscribe button and stick with us as we progress throughout this season. We're getting into the weeds here. We're getting into the dog days. And look, I'm a baseball guy. That's why I don't mind talking about it. That's why I enjoy talking about it here on the Locked On Rockies postcast. But hopefully we get some good news, some good vibes, some good energy sooner rather than later, because the month of June has been brutal for the Rockies. And just to kind of close on some thoughts here with the offense tonight, like I said, I mean, just once again, too little, too late. Brendan Rodgers and Michael Toglia, putting, accounting for the lone 2 runs for the Rockies late in this game. But just another night where it's a lethal cocktail of bad starting pitching and virtually no offense until, this game's essentially over and done with. And look, we've seen wild comebacks. We've seen some of that Rockies magic, specifically at Coors Field this year. But, it's just wishful thinking. You can't expect to win these games on a consistent basis if your starting pitcher is going to come in and give up 5 earned runs in the first inning and your offense is going to do nothing until the 8th inning. I mean, it's just not a recipe for success. And it's a reason why the Rockies, along with the Miami Marlins, are the only 2 teams in the National League that have virtually no chance at making the Major League Baseball postseason. I mean, look at the standings right now. I believe the Rockies are probably now 13 games out of a wild card spot. Literally every other team, Washington Nationals, Pittsburgh Pirates, San Francisco Giants, San Diego Padres, name insert historically bad team in recent memory here, and they're within spitting distance of a playoff spot, a wild card spot, the Mets even. And look, could the Rockies go on a run and win 5-6 in a row and narrow the gap? Sure. But the odds of that with how they're playing in June are just slim to none, in my opinion. So, like I said, it's disheartening. It's disappointing for this team. They play hard. I've been in that clubhouse. These guys, they're giving it their all, but things are just not syncing up for them. Either the pitching's good and the offense is bad, or the offense is good and the pitching's bad. And in tonight's instance, you kind of had the combination of both, which unfortunately happens more often than not with this Rockies club, as consistency is the name of the game, and they've been unable to do that. Now, they do have a rubber match coming up tomorrow against the Houston Astros, so let's see if they can try to split the series at the least, and then they'll have an opportunity to at least hopefully feel better about themselves, because they've got a 3-game set against the Chicago White Sox, who are arguably the worst team in Major League Baseball right now. And, maybe them and the Rockies and the Marlins. Let's look it up here. I know the White Sox are bad. MLB standings. Let's look it up. We'll do it live. We told you about the Marlins. I mean, yeah. The White Sox are 21-60. The Athletics are bad, but not as bad as the Rockies, who have just 27 wins on the year. Yeah, 27-52. The White Sox are the worst team in Major League Baseball at 21-60. They're 13-27 at home, 8-33 on the road. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but man, if they can't win a road series against the Chicago White Sox, and it would not surprise me if they lose that series, boy, oh boy, are there some problems. And like I said, Paul Holden, who's the host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, he asked me, what's your definition of success, Aniello? And I said, embracing the suck. It sucks right now, but you hope that these growing pains, look, Toglia has been better. Maybe more consistency will show you what you got with him. Brendan Rodgers, is he a trade candidate? Or you get a Montero. Can he get the stroke more consistent at the plate? Can Tovar continue to improve? Will Amador get some at-bats? I know his status is in flux right now a little bit. Can Germán Marquez at least look the part? These are all questions that you're looking to have answers to sooner rather than later if you're the Rockies. So we'll see what happens in tomorrow's game against the Houston Astros. But taking a look at the pitching matchup for this game, it'll be Ryan Feltner on the mound for the Rockies, folks, which does not necessarily mean great things. He's 1-6 with a 6.02 earned run average to pair with 73 strikeouts this season. And he'll be taking on Spencer Arguetti. I think I said that correctly. I should pride myself on the Italian last names, but I'm really bad at contextualizing things that I read sometimes for translation. But Arguetti has not been great this season, so maybe a little bit of an opportunity for the Rockies offense to bounce back. He's 3-6 with a 6.36 earned run average. So we'll see if Feltner can show up tomorrow. He's been down a little up and down, but mainly down for the Rockies as of late. So we'll see what Mr. Feltner's got in mind for the Rockies tomorrow, and we'll see if this offense can bounce back as well. And a somewhat favorable matchup against the Astros with their starting pitcher having struggled with a 6.36 earned run average. Ryan Feltner actually has a lower ERA than him at 6.02. So we shall see. Programming note as well, that is a early start time tomorrow, 12:10 p.m. So it'll be an early postcast right here on the Locked On Denver Sports YouTube channel. But a 5-2 loss for the Rockies tonight. Disappointing way to start the road trip. Austin Gomber struggles continue. The offensive lineup struggles continue. And the world of suck continues, to quote the great Emmanuel Sanders, former Denver Broncos wide receiver. It is a world of suck right now for the Colorado Rockies. But good episode tonight and a great episode coming out tomorrow morning of the Locked On Rockies podcast. Got my guy Kevin Henry from Just Baseball on the show. So make sure to subscribe to this channel, which is the Locked On Denver Sports channel, as well as the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you'll be able to find my conversation with Kevin Henry. But that is going to do it for me tonight, folks. Hope you guys are enjoying your Tuesday, and hopefully this loss did not, suck the wind out of your sails, and hopefully the Rockies can bounce back tomorrow for us as they take on the Houston Astros in the series finale of their 2-game set. Rocks lose 5-2. Gomber, no bueno. Offense, no bueno. Hopefully things flip tomorrow. But that's going to do it for me, folks. Enjoy your night, and we'll talk to you mañana on your Locked On Rockies postcast.